What's going on, guys? It's Danny from Fantasy Stock Exchange here, and today I'm going to be bringing forth my top 5 waiver pickups going into week 9 of fantasy football, highlighting in depth really the guys that you want to get off your waiver wire, the guys that you want to help you make the push in your fantasy football seasons. Listen, week 9, this is crunch time. You got to clinch your playoff spots. You got to make sure you get into the dance, and a lot of these guys can be instant contributors for you right off of the waiver wire going into week 9. So if you guys enjoy content like this, like always, make sure you leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel. Helps us a ton. And yeah, I'm ready to roll. Let's hit that damn intro and get into the first waiver wire pickup of the day. All right, so you guys should be able to see my top 5 waiver pickups on the screen right now. So if you're just here to see the top 5 without hearing much elaboration, that's for you. But let's start off with the number 1 waiver wire pickup of the week. And if you guys have been paying attention to any news on Sunday, any cycle that's gone on thus far, you would know that unfortunately, according to Adam Schefter, as you guys can see on the screen, Titans running back Derrick Henry suffered a potentially season-ending foot injury in their Sunday win over the Colts. The ramifications are massive. This is a 6 to 10 week timeline, according to Schefter. And if that's the case, I mean, they just signed Adrian Peterson this week, this Monday, to be that complimentary back in the backfield. For those of you who are wondering, why wouldn't it be Jeremy McNichols? Why wouldn't it be another back? The reason why I prefer Adrian Peterson in this backfield is quite simple. This is how I kind of broke down my thoughts on the situation on yesterday's live stream. But for those of you that were not watching that stream, I basically said, I expect Adrian Peterson to get that quote unquote Derrick Henry light role, the first and second down back, 15, 18 carries per game. So I think in half and full PPR, you're looking at a potential fringe top 25 type of running back option. Whereas Jeremy McNichols, I think he's a clear cut RB4 type PPR third down back, maybe 4 to 6 targets a game. So that being said, Adrian Peterson has shown every single coaching staff that he's been to thus far has respected him as that gritty veteran, one of the best running backs of all time. And I think the Titans are doing the same thing here. So you bring Adrian Peterson in, he's going to be the clear leader in running back opportunities on this team. And in terms of FAAB budget, listen, if you're getting a fringe top 25 level producer at this point in the year, I'd be willing to throw in 15-20% of my FAAB if I have that much left. I really do think that Adrian Peterson can be an instant producer from the get-go. So make sure you go scoop up Adrian Peterson if you do have the waiver to do it. So let's get on to the next name on the list. And this is a guy I was absolutely high on going into the year. By the way, side note, Adrian Peterson, 0% owned. I'm sure you guys would have known that, but this is a guy that I was super, super high on entering the year. And coming in at 49% rostered in Yahoo leagues, I got Brandon Aiyuk, wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. And we saw this week Brandon Aiyuk's usage take a clear uptick. So you guys can see the usage actually on one side of the screen and Jared Smola breaking down the usage on the other side of the screen. But simple, common sense right here. 88% snap rate from Brandon Aiyuk, season high. 97% route rate and a 25% target share in this game. Brandon Aiyuk looked good. Again, like the production wasn't crazy, but seeing him utilized in this capacity was an absolute marvel to see. And if we get this type of usage from Brandon Aiyuk for the foreseeable future, I think he can very well eclipse that top 35 type of standing that, while not beating our expectations going into the year, could be a wide receiver 3-4 type down the stretch. And at this point, again, in the fantasy season, having this type of depth piece, especially if an owner was frustrated and dropped him, is going to be absolutely crucial for your fantasy football team. So the talent is absolutely there. If the opportunity is finally meeting the talent with Brandon Aiyuk, we could see a potential uptick in usage. Not to mention Deebo Samuel is battling a calf injury, so monitor that throughout the week. But either way, Deebo on the field, Deebo off the field, Brandon Aiyuk is well worth a pickup. In terms of FAAB allocation, I'd be willing to go 10-15% to ensure I get Brandon Aiyuk from the wires. So let's get on to the next name. Wide receiver from the Miami Dolphins, Devante Parker, came back this week and looked good. Currently 35% rostered in Yahoo leagues, and you guys can see the actual snap, routes run split, and target split on this team this past week. But while Jalen Waddle led the team in snaps, Devante Parker actually led this team in routes run and targets. You see, first game back, was able to garner 12 targets. And this is a guy that has really done that on a consistent basis thus far this year. 44 targets he's earned in 5 games played this year. If you guys do the math on that, 8.8 targets per game. So this is a clear-cut wide receiver 3 type in fantasy that can garner a good amount of targets on playing that outside, playing that boundary role for this Miami Dolphins team. And this passing offense has looked like it's going to be able to support multiple weapons on a week. We can see Mike Gesicki. We can see Jalen Waddle. We can see Devante Parker. I think 2 out of these 3 guys are going to have a solid week every week. Because let's be honest here. If you guys have watched Miami Dolphins football here, they cannot run the ball this year. And even when they decide to run the ball, they're not in a good game script to be able to do so, obviously, with their 107 record. So that being said, if they're throwing the ball consistently to us, dropping back, throwing the ball 40, 45 times a game, I think Waddle, Parker, and Gesicki can all be relevant, but Parker mainly being the guy that's most available on your Yahoo Fantasy wires, and I'm assuming ESPN, NFL Fantasy, or Sleeper as well. So in terms of FAAB allocation, same thing as Aiyuk, maybe like 10-12% could be able to get it done to get a guy like Devante Parker, who I think can instantly step in and provide you top 40, 45-ish type of numbers, flex appeal per week. So on to the next name. And I talked about a couple wide receivers. I talked about a running back, but let's talk about a tight end now. I'm going to go into Dan Arnold, tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars, currently only rostered in 5%. Yes, 5% of leagues. The reason why I'm interested in Dan Arnold is that since he has been traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars, we have seen consistent elite fantasy tight end usage from him thus far. He has garnered an 18% target share on that Jaguars team since getting traded there for, obviously, CJ Henderson. But he is a clear target hog, a clear mismatch that Trevor Lawrence has found with this receiving corps. And natural progression and improvement from this Jags offense overall could really lend Arnold to a potential tight end roll type in fantasy. I mean, this is a cheap dart throw we look for. It kind of reminds me a little bit of what we saw last year with Logan Thomas. Steps into a situation kind of unproven. He's got athletic talent. Steps into a team that, I don't want to say a dumpster fire, but the offense wasn't really good for the Washington football team, but was able to do it on consistently elite fantasy usage. So I could see Dan Arnold stepping into that situation, a little bit more touchdown luck. This could be a top 10-ish type of tight end for the rest of the year. So absolutely love Dan Arnold. His splits have been phenomenal with Trevor Lawrence throwing him the rock. But we can go into the final name on the list, and another one of the biggest news on the week, and obviously with Derrick Henry. But man, Jameis Winston out for the year, torn ACL and MCL, according to Jane Slater and Adam Schefter. Taysom Hill becomes a very, very intriguing pickup in fantasy football. Currently only rostered in 3% of leagues, but you guys can see his stat lines when he played last year, when he started as the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, were tremendous. This is a Jalen Hurts light type of quarterback. You're going to get the rushing. You're going to get, not great passing, but at least volume in the passing game. And if that's the case, I mean, I think this could be a borderline top 12 type of quarterback in any game he starts, because that rushing advantage that Taysom gives you, that usage that he gets with Sean Payton in terms of being a rusher in the goal line, has been elite in these past couple years. So I think if Taysom Hill starts, he's instantly locked into my top 15 with, depending on matchup, being a fringe top 12 type of option on a week-to-week basis. So if you lost a Russell Wilson, if you lost, heck, maybe you had Jameis Winston in a super flex. Heck, maybe you have a quarterback that's been underperforming, like a Matt Ryan or someone like that. I think Taysom Hill could be your savior on the waiver wire. In terms of FAAB allocation, I don't expect to be much. In a single quarterback league, maybe you spend 5% to ensure you got him. Obviously, in super flex, you can absolutely spend basically all your FAAB at this point. So keep that monitored. But I absolutely love the potential that Taysom Hill could offer in fantasy football. So you see that list on the screen. Some honorable mentions I want to name, because let's be honest, these guys, in my opinion, should already be rostered. And if you have watched my live streams and videos, you would probably already be rostering them. But Rashad Bateman, Michael Gallup, Boston Scott, and Hunter Renfrow, all owned in less than 50% of leagues. Guys, what are we doing with Rashad Bateman and Michael Gallup? I mean, we know the talent, we know the opportunity, we know really the potency. I mean, people don't want to talk about it, but the Baltimore Ravens passing offense has been a top 3 neutral pass game team in these past 4 weeks. Between weeks 5 and 8, Hayden Winks tweeted this out. There's 67% neutral pass rate, which is phenomenal for a team that many just attributes to establishing the run, pounding the rock. The Ravens have been able to throw the ball at will. Michael Gallup coming back from that calf injury should be just fine on opponent Cowboys offense. Boston Scott, we really saw a weird split in terms of those Eagles running backs, with Boston Scott garnering the goal line opportunities. So I'm willing to put a good waiver in for him if he's not already rostered in your leagues. And then finally, Hunter Renfrow. This has been basically the Raiders' Cole Beasley. The Raiders have been throwing the rock all over the field. Hunter Renfrow on any given week is good for 7 to 10 targets. Cole Beasley, good floor, especially in PPR. But that about wraps it up. We're about 10 and a half minutes into this video. Again, if you enjoyed, you made it this far, make sure you leave a like down below. Helps us grow, and hopefully I can help you attack that waiver wire to position you for a nice week line and beyond win. So peace out, y'all. Enjoy your Tuesday.